Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Steve from GraphicDesignerTips.com. This is Logo Design Bootcamp episode number 21, where every week I design a new fictitious logo for you as a graphic artist to learn from, and ultimately in the end, you will become a better graphic artist. Now this week is based on the letter U, and I haven't done anything with any kind of clothing line or clothing company, but basically for the letter U, I've designed a company called Urban Universe, and there's a lot of things going on in this logo, and you may say, oh, this logo has too much going on. But for the purpose of the tutorial, there's a lot of little tools you're going to learn in it, and that's the purpose of this whole entire series. So let's jump into it right now. Let me critique it, and then I'll build it in Adobe Illustrator and wrap up at the end. All right, so the Urban Universe logo is a very well balanced, basically down the center type of logo. Balanced, like I said, both sides very well. That's my style that I do in most cases. But there are a lot of small details in this logo that, in a way, it might be a little bit overkill. But it was just for the purpose of this tutorial for you to learn, the different tools in Adobe Illustrator. So what I want to start with is the font. The font is two different fonts. The word urban is in Gothic Medium, and the word universe is in Microgramma Medium. So I'll put that in the description below the video so you can go find those fonts if you do not have them. And basically what I wanted to depict was like a half moon type of shape. Obviously the urban theme. Urban to me means more modern. I think of city, but then it's more of the hip hop type culture. So when it comes to like fashion, that's kind of what I thought about here. So color wise, I haven't done much with greens, I don't believe, in my tutorials, and so I've been wanting to do something with black and green. But the basically right here, the tools that you're going to learn in Illustrator is I did a distortion like perspective on this building to make it look like a building. Right here, a brush stroke on this little white kind of grungy type of a stroke going around here. Gradients in the background, kerning on the letters, and using the Pathfinder like always. So let's get into Adobe Illustrator CS6 right now, and I'll show you how to build this logo. All right, so before I get into the actual logo design, I'm going to show you kind of what my canvas looks like. Yes, this is a big, huge mess. I didn't even sketch for this logo. I kind of had an idea in my mind, but I just played around with some stuff, and it kind of evolved into, yeah, I know this looks crazy, but a lot of these are similar. They're the same copies. I just copy things over to make, different versions, renditions, and changes and stuff like that. So finally came over here, did a couple, final touches, and came up with our final logo. So now we're in Adobe Illustrator CS6, and we're going to start building this logo. First thing we're going to do is do the words because it's the easiest thing to do. We're going to go to the type tool, and we're going to type in the word urban in all caps, and we're going to hit escape when you're done with that. And we're going to now, while holding the shift button, scale this up, and we're going to change the font to Bank Gothic. Right now I have it on LTBT Light. All right. Actually, excuse me. Let's do medium. And I'm going to kind of match it up with what I did here. And let's see, kind of scale it up a little bit. And what I did was I am a big fan of adding tracking. So you come up into the character, and this one right here, if you hover over, it says set the tracking for the selected characters. That actually adds space at the end of each character. So we're going to come and just do this until it looks like what we want to do. Now, a lot of people out there, they get mistaken by thinking, they want to, use like when they're aligning things. So say you wanted to align something to this word now because you added all that tracking. Say I make a box right here, and I want to select both of these, and I want to align them to the right. So I come up here to my horizontal align right tool, and I click that. But if you notice, it aligns all the way to here instead of to the end of the N. And the reason being is because when you added all that tracking onto the letters, it actually added onto the letter N. So what you have to do is you have to come up here to the character after you just select the letter N, and you have to zero out that tracking. And you're going to notice, hold on one second. You're going to zero out and hit enter, and it basically comes back to where you need it to be. You see a little bit of space on the left of the U and a little bit of space on the left of the N. That's going to help you with aligning things correctly later on. Just a little tidbit. Next, the word universe, all in caps. hit escape like always, and same deal. We're just going to make this a little larger. We're going to change the font to Microgramma Medium. All right, it's still a modern type font, but it's different, and there's a nice thin version to it. So we're going to come up to the character again, and then we're just going to add tracking, and it's going to pull it over to where I want it to be. All right. Now, same thing with the E. If you see there's so much space after that E, we're going to come up into the character and set that to 0. We're going to hit Enter, and we're going to hit Escape to get out of this selection. Now, we have the word Urban Universe. Now, we're going to select both of these, and we're going to create outlines because we want to put, you know, some colors in them. Actually, for the word universe, you don't have to because that's just a solid green. But urban, I actually put a black to gray gradient in it. So we're going to go to Type, Create Outlines, a Shift Command O. And just in here, you're just going to come to your gradient, and you're going to click here. If you know how to do gradients already, you're definitely ahead of it. But we're going to take 100% black in our swatches, and we're going to chuck it in here. We're going to throw away that extra white, and then we're going to come into here into one of our values of black. So say we go to like 80% black. So it goes from black to 80% black. Right now it's going from left to right. We can change this from up to down. So that's that. On the word universe, I have my green swatch in here. So I have that, and we're going to pull this over here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this shape right here. So we're going to come into here, and we're going to go take an ellipse. And while holding Shift, because if you don't hold Shift, this is going to happen. You're going to get an oval. Hold Shift. You'll have a perfect circle. All right. And let's see here. We're going to have that. And I'm going to pull that over here and move it over. And then basically we're going to do another circle, which I'm going to cut out from that original circle. And it's going to make it that moon type shape. And I'm going to put it over here. Now, if you notice, and I'll turn this a different color so you can see. Now, I need to align these perfectly center so this, you know, half moon doesn't look like, you know, offset or anything. So while both of these are selected, we're going to come up here to the horizontal align center tool, and we're going to hit that. And now we have these centered. And while we still have these selected, come into your Pathfinder, which if you don't know where that is, you go to Window Pathfinder. And we're going to come into the shape modes minus front. So what it's going to do is it's going to subtract that front shape, the red, into the green shape. So when we hit minus front, all of a sudden we get that. And now we have this shape, which is that moon shape. All right, next thing we're going to do is we are going to, what I did here was I kind of had this shape kind of hug the B. So, you know, if this whole word was out of here, let's just take all this stuff out real quick. It's still a pretty cool shape. In a way, it kind of looks like some kind of a falcon or, you know, some kind of a bird type of shape, but I like it, whatever it looks like. So we're going to make this little shape right here, and basically what you do is you come into the pen tool, and you know what, I'm going to pull this shape down so I can retrace this correctly. And you're going to make one point, you're going to hold Shift and make another point. You're going to hold Shift again and make another point, and then you're going to come straight down, and then we're going to come up on an angle, and basically on the last point we're going to hold it where it closes, and we're just going to pull this so we have a nice little arc. Now obviously that does not look like the shape that we made, and we're going to refine it. That's what it's all about. So we're going to come back to the plus sign on the keyboard or the add anchor point tool, and we're going to add an anchor point here, here, and say like right here. And now we're going to come to the minus anchor point tool, and we're going to delete this corner point right here because we're going to round this corner just like in here. We're going to click that right there. And the next thing we want to do is go to the convert anchor point tool, and basically that is under here, or Shift C, convert anchor point tool, and all you do is click on an anchor point and you're going to see what's going to happen. It's pretty cool. I go into everything on these tutorials, so I try not to leave anything behind, even though I can do this in a pen tutorial. Alright, so now if we zoom in, now we have some kind of a thing going on. You can take your direct selection or hit A on the keyboard and start manipulating the points, pulling the anchors. Alright, and let's unwind that. When you do the convert anchor point tool, it actually gives you the ability to unwind the point and round it. That's what I just did. So here's the other point we made over here, and I'm going to pull that out. Just going to manipulate these a little bit. And remember, do these with the white arrow, the direct selection. That's the one you want to use. Let's see, pull that out a little bit more. Okay, so that's good enough right now. We'll mess around with this later. And we're going to pull this up right here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually, I kind of skipped ahead with this little shape, but we're going to make a little box like so. And I'm going to put that in red so you can see it on top of it. And we're going to center these perfectly like we did earlier to cut out that moon shape. And we're going to minus the front because we're going to break this up into two separate shapes. Okay? Get out of here. Got my cat over here trying to do some tutorials here, buddy. All right, now this basically broke it up into two shapes. So to differentiate the shapes, we're going to turn this one black. And this one right here that we just did before, the green one. Okay, we got our shape right there. And I need to refine that. So let me come in here and mess around with a couple of points. Actually, that's the point that's screwing it up right there. All right, you know, I might even delete that point. Do something like that. Okay, there we go. That's what I wanted right there. All right, so now that we have this shape, we're going to Option, click, shift it over to copy it, and we're going to come in here to the reflect tool, or O on the keyboard, and we're going to, while holding shift, you basically are click your mouse and hold it down, hold shift and move your mouse to the right. You're going to see it flip perfectly over, and we're just going to zoom in, and we're going to line that up as perfectly as we can. Same thing with the one on the left. And we're going to turn this one black. And now it looks, you know, it's two separate shapes on each. And it may look good, but when you start to put things in there later, it's going to give you a problem. So we want to combine these into one shape. So you want to select and hit shift when you're selecting the black one. And actually, let's see. You're going to have to ungroup these because they're still grouped. So the way you do that is Object, Ungroup, or Shift Command G. And now you can select both of these and come into your Pathfinder shape and unite them, and you're going to see that line that was right there. Let me back up. You see it? Now you don't. It's one shape, one full shape. Over here it's still two shapes, so we're going to select both of them and combine. Perfect. All right. Now we're going to just kind of eye this up. You know, you can refine this all in the end. These logos, if you look at my canvas from before, this thing over here, this, you know, bomb that hit my canvas, you know, that was about a nice at least 3 hours of work. But you know, I spend a lot of time on these tutorials to think about different tools that I can incorporate into each logo for you all to learn. So that's what's going on with that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make this ring right here. And this is very simple. You're going to come in here and come into the ellipse tool and holding shift down, I'm going to make it so it cuts right through the top points of the half moon. And we're going to fill it with none, and we're going to just keep a white stroke on it. We're going to make that stroke about 2 points, and we're going to come into our brushes. And usually a default brush is one of these type of charcoal brushes. So we're going to click that, and we're just going to, let's see, I'll go up to 3 points, and I'm going to rotate this circle a little bit, just like so, by clicking on that end point after you click on the actual thing. Let's see. There we go. That's how I wanted it. Cool. All right. So now that is a shape on top of everything. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make these buildings in the background, or this, you know, depiction of a building. And actually, excuse me, before that, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. We need to have these two touching, so there's no white space in the middle. So while holding shift, you would just eye this up, right, like so. All right, so they're touching. There's no space in the middle. And you might have to mess around with that, you know, brush stroke ring right here, because everything moved over a little bit. There we go. So the way we're going to make this building is very, very simple. We're going to come in here and make a rectangle. All right. We're going to fill it with black. And we're going to make one. Let's see. We're going to make 1, 2, 3. And we're going to Command G those. We're going to group that. So now we're going to go Option click, Shift down. 1, 2, go down a while. All right. Now I know I made a lot in here, so we're going to, you know, mess around with these later. And because I did these by hand, you know, moving these, you know, spacing these out, we're going to select all these and come into our Align tools and go to Vertical, Distribute through the center points. And it's going to distribute them evenly, which is what we wanted. And, you know, I might even make these a little thinner by taking the whole selection, pulling it up, maybe thinning it in there. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to select, we want to make this little perspective on it. So we're going to select this whole thing and go to Command G. It's going to group it. So when we now click it, it's a whole entire group instead of one piece at a time. We're going to select this again, and we're going to come up into Effect, Distort, Free Distort. And we're going to just pull these points, these endpoints straight up. And again, hold the Shift while you do that, because it's going to go up. That's how you want it to be. And we're going to hit OK. And now you got this perspective on here. And, you know, if you don't like the angle it's at, you can go back into your Appearance palette, which if it's not up, you go into Window Appearance. And you're going to double-click on the effect. And you can reset it and pull it out any other way that you want it to be. So say you want it to come this way, you know, you can have that happen. So now that we have it like this, you must come into your object and expand the appearance, because it's going to now make the selection in the exact position of the shape. So we're going to Option, click, shift it over, and we're going to come into the Reflect tool again, or O on the keyboard, and we're going to reflect this around. And I'm going to change all these fills to green, so it kind of, you know, it kind of gives that little bit of a difference here. And we're going to make sure these are touching. There's no white in the middle. All right, cool. And we're just going to now come in here, and we're actually going to group these. So Command G, these two different selections, and we're going to come in here, and basically this is a little bit overkill. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to first shrink it, and hold Shift when you're doing this, and Option. And because Option, if you don't hold Option, this is going to happen. If you hold Option, it's going to magnify through the center point instead of the bottom left point or whatever point. So now that we have this, we're going to take our direct selection, and we're going to delete some of these, unless you want to hide them behind the whole selection. And we're just going to delete. All right, cool. And we're just going to pull this selection right down the center, eye it up like so, and just like that. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to, you know, I'll do that last. We're going to make these little gradients in the background. Basically, all I did was, and what I did was I wanted to keep the green with the green and the black with the black. So you see black gradient, black line, green gradient, green line on that side. Just, you know, just adds a little bit of cool character to it. Basically, you're going to make a little rectangle that extends into the green. And we're going to, let's see, what are we going to do? We're going to make another rectangle above it. And we're just going to throw a gradient in it. And for right now, I'm just going to select the gradient that I had made. And we're going to make sure the gradient goes from dark to light in the vertical direction, like so. And we're going to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, or Shift Command Open Bracket. And that's a little bit too high, that gradient. I might have to lower the actual amount of gradient. And, oh, the way that you get this gradient to be, all right, let me show you something real quick. This is very, very important, and it's a good thing to learn. Say I put this green, say I fill this, all right, let's see, if I take a full color of green in here, I'm going to have to make the gradient very low for it to kind of come out and do what we want to do. So the other way of doing this is you can make a color, a spot color, and then do a percentage of that spot color, which if you come into this gradient, right here is a spot color that I made, and it's 25% of the spot color. If I bring it all the way up, it's that dark green. So the way that you do that is very simple. You just find any color in your swatch palette. So, you know, say I'm using a red. We're going to double click that. We're going to color type, change it from process to spot, and then hit OK. And now you're going to see a little arrow, now a little white arrow come on the bottom right of that swatch. Now you're able to take that color and take any percentage of it. So it's just like a cool little thing to teach you guys if you didn't know already. And basically all I'm going to do in here is I'm going to, I should have saved this selection, but I got to make them again. But those little boxes I made before, let's see, we're going to fill them with white. Actually, excuse me, these aren't boxes down here. These are actually strokes. And what I'm going to do is make little line segments. All right, I'm gonna turn them white. Make the stroke a little bit higher on that, and we're going to copy, Option Shift click like so, and I'm going to do a couple of vertical ones. So we say we do 1, 2, 3, get 6, 9, something like that. You can use your line tools to, you know, space this stuff out, but basically what you want to do is you want to lock everything so you don't accidentally move something. So you're going to select this entire symbol right here, and you're going to go to Object, Lock Selection, Command 2, and we're going to take this entire, all this stuff, all these lines, and we're going to go to Option Arrange, Object Arrange, excuse me, Send to Back. Now it's going to send it completely behind it, and there was a lot of refining I had to do on here, you know, with the gradient to make it, you know, look more realistic. So basically all I did for this was I took this entire piece, I Option click Shift, and I flipped it around with the rotate tool, and I just changed the values to black. Instead of the green in the gradient, I used a let's see, I used a light gray. So we come into the gradient now, we select that gradient, it's in here as a light green. We're going to come up in here into like a 20% black, pull that in there. And I'm still not very happy with that, so I might just, let's see if I did this. If I do like a transparency on that, it's going to lower everything for now. So I also need to send these little bars to the front. Object Arrange, Bring to Front. Okay. Like I said, this logo took me a few hours, so a lot of refining having to do in here. And the last thing we're going to do on this logo is we're going to do a little gradient mesh, which is what I did in here to make this you know, stand out and look a little bit more shiny and three-dimensional. So all you do is you come into the mesh tool, or U on the keyboard, and you just click. Technically, you know, I'm going to click like right over here, and you're going to find your green as a CMYK, and you're just going to add some black in it. All right, and it's going to darken that up a little bit, and you're going to notice this kind of thing is happening right here. You're going to see those through there. So what you want to do is take this whole selection and you want to Object Arrange, Send to Back, so you don't see that coming through. And again, U on the keyboard is the mesh tool. Click the black, and you're going to just take the black in the K on the CMYK and you're just going to lower it to like a lower percentage of that. And you know, you got to mess around with this a little bit because you might have some hard edges coming here. That's what the gradient mesh tool does. But it looks like we're pretty much done with this logo. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial based on the letter U. We got a couple episodes left in this series, so any comments on the remaining 5 episodes, I believe, V, W, X, Y, Z. 5 episodes left. Let me know below in the comments. Definitely subscribe to this channel, and here's a couple of the videos from the series. And let me know what you learned below in this video, how it helped you, you know, what tools are new to you that you're going to be able to implement in your new work. So that's it, everybody. I'm Steve from GraphicDesignerTips.com. I hope you have an awesome night, and I'll see you next week. Peace.